How's it going, everybody? And welcome to the Liberty Bowl. It is, of course, live stream Friday, as we do every Friday here. We come together, talk about all the news, events, happenings going down in the fall of Western civilization as we know it, and of course, unburden ourselves by what has been a very long work week, and hang out, smoke a little bit of herb, and talk about what's going on. Joining me, as always, is my co-host Liberty Swine. How you doing this week, man?
Damn fine, as usual. Enjoying the AZ weather and watching fucking dramas unfold. It's good times.
Right? The only time of year that people are jealous of Arizona, right? The only time of year people are like, dude, it's so nice out there, man. Like, yeah, for like 3 fucking months out of 12. So, and but either way, we'll take it, Um, but yeah, some major bombshells hitting the news this week, of course. Starting right out the gate this Sunday, Sunday, late at night, Joe Biden decided that he's going to go ahead and do what he said that he would never, ever, ever do. And he went ahead and pardoned his son, Hunter. Of course, everybody knew it was coming. I mean, you could go back to the previous episodes. Both of us were like, he's definitely going to pardon his son. Nobody actually believed that he was going to. We actually really all thought that it was going to be a little bit later, but nonetheless, he seems to be making a great mess of what remains of the Democrat Party while he's still got powers. I mean, more power to him. Fuck it. What are we talking about that? Whole bunch of different angles we going on that one. Of course, the other big news, big news that's been going all over the place is the United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was assassinated in New York. All right. So many different aspects, angles, theories to that. Of course, the person's still at large. I mean, they have a kind of grainy partial shot of the guy's face. I guess apparently they found his backpack today. Other than that, they think that he might have left the state of New York. They don't really have much else to go on, but we'll be talking about that. We also have Peter Hotez issuing a chilling warning about a possible pandemic that could be striking, and he gives a date of January 21st. Bit ominous, but we'll be talking about that quite a bit.
Pretty
We also
precise.
right, and he's a little bit specific there, almost like he knows something. Um, we also got the Supreme Court is deciding this week on transgender surgeries being banned for minors. We'll be talking about that. Of course, it is a more conservative leaning Supreme Court. Signs are pointing to transgender surgeries are going to be banned for children. We'll be talking about that because, of course, the left is absolutely melting down. And you kind of have to wonder, why would they bring this before the Supreme Court knowing what sort of Supreme Court is currently in place right now? We also have two what are being called controversial uh, uh, picks by Donald Trump right now, which would be Kash Patel for the director of the FBI, and of course Pete Hegseth for the Department of Defense. Which they're raising a bit of a stink. Of course, Kash Patel. For some reason, they hate him. He's obviously white supremacist. They definitely don't want him running the FBI because I mean that's their their everything. That's their tools, man. That's their Gestapo. That's the guys, so yeah, they're definitely freaking out about that. We'll talk about a bit more about why. And then Pete Hegseth, of course, the leftist go to is of course the Me Too thing. And there apparently a police report from years ago that was settled out rather than being brought to court is now being used against him. And what is there like three fucking women Republican senators right now that are just kind of like, oh, I don't know, I'm on the fence.
Yeah.
So that's could possibly be in a little bit of jeopardy. Of course, Donald Trump is coming to the rescue to try and do what he can to push him through. We also got an appeals court, a federal appeals court, has upheld the TikTok. The broad term is TikTok ban. Of course, we went into pretty big detail about what it was way back in the day when it first came out. But it essentially forces the Chinese company, what is it, ByteDance, to go ahead and divest their their holdings in TikTok. Otherwise, it would be banned from the country. So it's a we'll be talking a bit about that. I mean, of course, like I said, it's still a federal appeals court. It's still probably going to end up having to reach the Supreme Court to see how that actually ends up playing out. Um, Daniel Penny. Of course, we all remember Daniel Penny as the guy that saved a bunch of people on the subway train in New York City, which of course is highly illegal, fucking highly illegal in New York City. Like, fucking trying to help people from somebody that's saying that he's going to kill everybody. Um, yeah, he's on trial this week, and we did actually do have some good news on that today. As you know, the big charge, the manslaughter charge, was dismissed today. Of course, there was a hung jury. Of course, it was essentially kind of dismissed. It could still potentially be brought back up. I believe, I'm not too sure again. I not no lawyers here. Don't get your legal advice from these two guys, but I do believe that it's been dismissed. It could possibly be brought back up at a later date, but based off of the more or less kind of split jury, I don't see it being brought back up. It wasn't even necessarily what I would consider close. But again, not a lawyer, don't necessarily know everything about how these court proceedings go. And then, in some random, short-lived, about 3 days worth of news, South Korea, shit hit the fan over there. Fucking, we'll be talking about that just a little bit. Apparently, they went into martial law for a minute. A whole bunch of madness going on over there. There's a whole bunch of confusion, and then now all of a sudden, nobody wants to talk about it. So, of course, kind of curious situation there. But of course, let's first start out with the breaking news of the day. Daniel Penny. Of course, I'm pretty sure you already know our take on it. Of course, it was defense. The dude was defending the other people on the bus. Apparently, there's been some more information that's come out. Apparently, the guy was still breathing at the time. Again, I don't know. I didn't follow it too closely. Again, not a real big court trial lawyer type of guy, so I don't know much about it. But from what I hear, there's new details. Again, as we mentioned just a minute ago, it was about a split jury, and the first charge was dismissed. So, go and get your take on it, man. What's your thoughts on old Daniel Penny?
Yeah, and the new footage you're talking about was some body cam footage where the police were basically refusing to give the dude mouth to mouth because he stank, disgusting. Anyway, this dude had a massive rap sheet, and yeah, Daniel Penny, did what he thought was right. I mean, this is a guy that served his country, ex-Marine, yada yada, right? And most of the passengers on the train corroborated his story. This is just leftist shit. The trying attorney is a joke, a leftist activist that's let people go on like murder charges because of their background. I felt sorry, so
Right.
but yet this right
Marginalized.
here, yeah, you got to try to ruin this guy's life. And from what I understand, it's almost like this judge just sat this aside, like he's made it seem like it's dismissed, but it's not. It's basically telling the a jury like disregard it, move on to this lesser charge of negligent homicide, which is it's not going to be any better for the guy. I mean, you're still that's a fucking pretty hefty charge, right?
All right.
But you got BLM already out there calling for protests and fucking Floyd riots and shit like that. It's probably only going to get worse regardless. Those people aren't going to be satisfied no matter what happens. And of
All right.
course, it's going to have this is going to culminate right in time for the Trump admin to come in.
Yeah.
And and then if he tries to stop it like previous, he showed great restraint, letting these people run around and cause millions of dollars in damage because the governors didn't want National Guard and shit called in. And if he tries to do anything, it's going to be, see, He's rounding up American citizens just like we told you. Is
Right.
that's one of the things I see coming out of it. And as far as Daniel Penny's legal standing himself, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I still tend to think he's fucked. It's in New York. You got Soros, prosecutors and shit, involved in the case. And the judge is obviously trying to play shady games. I mean, really, a hung jury or a deadlock jury, it should have been fucking mistrial, man.
Right.
Instead it's, oh, well, just disregard that and focus on this. It's like a Juan Merchant type of judge.
Yeah. And as everybody, points out, as is frequently the case in most trials nowadays, I mean, the process is the punishment. Even if he does get off with it scot free, I mean, there's already been thousands of dollars spent in lawyer fees. He's been ran through the media. He's probably not going to be safe showing his face around New York probably the rest of his life. He's probably going to have to move. I mean, irreparable damage to his reputation, his life. I mean, I'm sure he's probably lost any sort of job that he had over this.
Right.
Um, yeah, so I mean, the damage is done already. It doesn't matter. I mean, at this point, if he were to go to prison, at least fucking they give him something. At least they give him a fucking place to sleep and food now. But yeah, really, the entire process is already taking everything from him, which is again going to further discourage people from trying to help one another, really that's the problem. That's the problem. It's funny because they really do have a double standard on stuff like this too when it comes to helping people, like for example, drug overdoses. For a long time, people were overdosing on drugs and dying at people's houses. Why? Because nobody wants to fucking call 911 and bring a whole bunch of fucking cherries and berries to our fucking house. We're over here partying right now. Like we ain't trying to do that. So they had to make a law that made it to where police are not allowed to show up for an overdose call. And so I mean, still nonetheless, people didn't actually do much more calling, but I mean, I guess if it helped a little bit, I mean, it's just the approach on it, like don't worry, we don't want to take away your illegal drugs or anything like that. Any sort of operations you may
Mm,
be going on, we will put on the blinders, as
right.
long as it comes to saving a life. But when it comes to the other thing, when it comes to something like this, where there's a violent person threatening the lives of other people, and somebody comes in and defends those other people, rabble, 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 and so like I say, the two things, it encourages people to like, oh, it's fine, fucking drugs, they're not a big deal and shit like that. People, even though it is the leading killer of people in our country at this very moment, oh, don't worry, that's not a big deal. But protecting somebody using force, that's everybody freak out, Like it's a weird double standard that they have.
And if the tables would have been turned, it'd be a smack on the wrist. It would barely make the news. I mean, it wouldn't even be a situation that we're talking about.
Right. Yep, as we've seen in countless stuff that barely even makes the news half the time because of the fact that nobody wants to report on it. But whenever somebody that is of the proper race or of the proper intersectionality, according to the left hierarchy of victimhood,
Mm,
um, then we see those cases get thrown right out. Then all of a sudden, oh, victim of circumstance. Oh, he's a product of his surrounding. Like, oh, he's off to be a scholar. Actually, once he gets out of this, I'm pretty sure he's going to get some grant programs and stuff like that. Like, oh, we don't want to take away their chance. Like, oh, his systemic racism. Oh, their great grandparents were probably somebody's slaves. Like, excuse after excuse after excuse for anybody else. It's all identity politics with these people.
That's what I was saying about, the attorney trying the case, the prosecutor there. She's been interviewed about, a previous case where a guy, robbed this 80-some-year-old man, knocked him down, he hit his head and died. And then, she went on to say, well, I felt sorry for him once I learned his background, so I gave him
Right.
this lesser sentence. And, I mean, it's complete fucking shit. The bleeding heart stuff just destroys civilizations as far as I'm concerned. I mean, you're seeing the slight repercussions right now. It could get much worse, and it's
Um,
also a complete Marxist tactic to free the criminals and prosecute the heroes. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, Lady Justice wears a blindfold for a reason. It's not because fucking what is it, photophobia? She ain't trying to shield her fucking eyes from the sun. She's not supposed to be looking. She's not supposed to be taking into account how much, like, oh, this person reminds me of my grandson, or this person reminds me of this person, or whatever. They're not supposed to take that stuff into account. Like it's supposed to be black and white. Like there's a reason that we have a rule of law. There's a reason why we have legal precedent as well in order to help interpret that rule of law. Um, the things like systemic racism and all of these new socialist communist buzzwords that they've been coming up with to try and just make everybody into this class of oppressed and oppressors. uh it's I forgot where I was going with it, but I'm pretty sure you guys know where I'm going with it.
You know, the thing.
Right, the fucking thing, man, the thing.
And they're doubling down on that. I mean, like one of the heads of the DNC was just, talking, giving a speech and went on to say that they need to keep identity politics at the forefront of their party's fucking platform. I mean, these people don't learn, you know.
Right.
I'm pretty
Yep.
sure it's been debunked that, Einstein didn't say it, but the phrase, it's trying the same thing over and over again, getting the same results is, insanity, right?
Yep. Yeah, these people are absolutely insane to say the least, and that's to put it in polite fucking terms.
Right.
But at the same time, it could be that they're not insane too. It could just be, repeat the lie, and eventually the lie becomes the truth. They could be doing that tactic as well too.
I mean, at this point, they're doing that just with just about everything that they fucking talk on. I mean,
Right.
it's just repeating lies. Some of them 7, 8, 9 years old and have been debunked by even leftist platforms, but they still repeat them. I mean, it's
But
fucking ludicrous.
we're also seeing basically the people that either one didn't get their paychecks from the DNC, or two, since the election's over, their paychecks have been cut off. We're seeing a lot of people start to have a change of heart, or like an aha moment, and they're like, wait a minute, maybe the Democrats are lying to people and pushing propaganda, like especially with the Hunter Biden part, and that fucking pissed a lot of Democrats off. And
Yeah, my favorite is New York. I mean, you got the New York government basically now coming out one by one, like, we're going to work with Trump and Homan, on the immigration situation, and
right.
we'll help deport criminals that are here illegally. I mean, all these people that have any kind of semblance, are realizing, I mean, what the fuck is really going on. I mean, even twits like Charlemagne, the God, right? The
Mhm.
God, the dude can't spell the apparently, but I mean, he's had an epiphany because he's realizing he's been lied to a whole bunch.
Right. Yep. Like, and apparently, according to Joe Biden, he ain't black no more. So, all right.
I'm sure he still voted for fucking Camel, man.
Yeah. Yep. But I don't know. I do think that there's a lot of people that at least second guessed when they checked that Democrat bubble this time around. I think there's a lot of people that actually thought, a lot harder than they usually do about it. Not to say that they thought hard about it, but harder than they usually do. Harder than, well, who did Cardi B say I should vote for? And that's what I mean by they thought a little bit harder about it. Um,
Yeah, especially fucking Democrat males, man. I mean, you've seen those
yeah.
videos all over the interzones.
Yep. Yeah. That's the youths, man. The youths, and it's really a lot of the people they came to terms with. Your generation's fucked, boy. You guys
Right.
ain't getting shit. Like, you guys got left holding the bag. Sorry. That's the reality of it. Um, and so I think a lot of them came to that realization, you know. And I think a lot of it, of course, as we've mentioned time and time again, has to do with Elon Musk essentially taking over social media. We'll just put it broadly. And then just the internet in general, just the ability to share ideas. I think those are the main factors that are contributing to people being able to actually share this sort of information, to actually let the use understand how they've been fucked over, and how they can start to try and backtrack it, or at least work it in the other direction.
Yeah, yeah, but and I totally agree with you, especially for the mainstream fucking thought process. But because you don't get more mainstream than X, right? But
Hmm.
you know, I still think it sucks that everyone just writes off, the previous actual fucking free speech platforms
Right.
that
Fucking
are
blue sky
totally
and shit.
self-funded. That no, I mean, that have built, their own infrastructure. They have their own fucking exchanges, everything. I mean, like
Yeah.
Minds, BitChute. We could keep going. You know what I mean? Gab, and they're like truly free speech. I mean, there's still things that you can get strikes or get banned for on X,
Hmm.
but they always get written off as if they don't exist.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know. I mean, with the the machine decides the way that it decides.
But I mean, it's mainly because the machine decided on Twitter, and that's the platform he bought.
Right.
You know what I mean? If he would have bought something else, like if he would have started a new company or something like that, it wouldn't even be, what it is today. I
Right.
think anyway.
Right. Well, I mean, of course, when you have the entire federal government literally working against you, I mean, you don't want to build a new car from scratch. You want to just buy something that's fucking running and ready to go already.
Right, it
Shit.
wasn't running though. It was like buying a car that fucking had severe defects and repair issues. You know
Well,
what I'm
'cause-
saying? I mean, you think about all the staff he cut, all the code he had to go through. I mean, all the shadow ban shit that was put in place, and I'm sure some of it is probably still there. I
mhm,
mean, I'm obviously not a coder. I have no idea, but it
right.
took some serious work to get it up to where it's going.
But it would have taken much more work getting millions and millions of people to come to a new platform.
Yep, that's what I'm saying. It
That's
wouldn't be
the
what it is for sure.
right.
But you see, I
That's
mean, even though it's the mainstream, and he, so, and then he bought it. Like you mentioned, Blue Sky. Like you have the whole Boston state government and the local sports teams, everything, all moving all their shit over to Blue Sky, leaving X. A lot of advertisers have left. It's pretty fucked,
they'll be
and that's why
back.
you see creators out here trying to push people to get premium.
Right.
You know, like
I think if
Clown World.
I think if Elon Musk would have done anything other than buying Twitter, like if he would have bought one of the other, actually already up and running, ready to go free speech platforms, it would have just been True Social. It has been the same thing. It had just been a right wing echo chamber. Like I see it at least this way. On the left, he had a captive audience. Like
Right.
like I say, they ain't going nowhere. Even if they do, they'll be back. They've tried this several times already. They will. They always come back. You know.
They'll get banned themselves. Like, not only has child porn been rampant on there, but then, apparently it's just nonstop people reporting each other, you
Right.
know, fucking shenanigans.
Right. It's the idiots are fucking running the factory. Like of course it's
Right.
gonna fucking crash. So I mean, yeah, they'll be back. They ain't going nowhere.
Did,
They're definitely not going to TikTok.
right, I mean, you think that's gonna happen? Are we moving on to that, or
If you had something else you want to throw, you could stay on it for a second.
I'm good.
All right. Yeah, they're definitely not going to TikTok. So yeah, as we mentioned, the a federal appeals court has upheld the what's being dubbed as the TikTok ban bill. Right. So of course, what this bill essentially does is it forces. It really is kind of broad too because it forces foreign. Well, it was only four countries, right? I believe it was like China, Russia, Iran, and one other country, I believe, that was on the list, correct?
Adversarial trade partners? Yeah.
Right. Essentially, yeah, yeah. If from our adversarial countries, basically to operate a social media platform in the United States, basically that they cannot be a major investor. So basically, they can't be on any boards. They can't own a majority share at all. Um, and if they do, they are either forced to divest their investment, or they the government will basically just ban the site from being able to be accessed in the United States. Of course, there's always workarounds around that. There's VPN stuff like that, but nonetheless, it drastically from taking it away from the mainstream would cripple it. So I mean, it's nonetheless still the same thing as effectively banning it. But what's your thoughts? You think it's gonna go through?
I don't know, man. You got old Trumpskulls on there now, and him backtracking, from his previous term, saying now that he wouldn't ban it. I really don't know if it's going to go through. Libertarian aspects, you want to be like it's supposed to be free markets is and all that kind of shit, right? But
Right.
at the same time, we're seeing the repercussions of letting a subversive content be spread in children's minds.
Yeah.
And that's where you get your blue hair fucking, bull nose ring, crying ass mugs. And I mean, do you really want more of that? And we've covered this pretty extensively that you can't have your unicorn utopia revolution without just melting the minds of the fucking children. And what better way than an already addictive social media platform, and then you mix in that algorithm, and and again, you see what they show on TikTok in China, and it's all educational shit, and
Right.
virtual museum tours, and shit like that. But here it's pure AIDS. It's absolute fucking cancer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, you know, and so in a way, you're like, fuck. You want to squash that. You got to deal with the fucking Frankfurt indoctrination tools, right? That's part of the whole change MAGA fucking platform. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that hence the reason of the Department of Education, right? But and from what I understand, China has a permanent board seat at ByteDance. So,
Honestly, don't see why Trump would have a problem enforcing it. I mean, his thing is basically is essentially, to put it in basic broad terms, his platform is we're gonna have trade wars, motherfucker. You gonna buy American. That's the way it's gonna
mhm,
be. So I mean, he's willing to impose high tariffs on these people, uh, even if it is just to flex at them. At the same time, I still think he's willing to use this tool, against his the foreign adversaries of America, which again, fine. I mean that's quite literally what your job is as the president. But at the same time, on the flip side is the thing that libertarians talk about all the time, the slippery slope fallacy.
right.
Of course, we got in Australia right now. I think it passed. I'm not sure. I don't follow Australian politics too closely, but this has made world news. But essentially, they banned people from under the age of 16 from being able to access social media websites. So this includes Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, uh, X, whatever, all of them. If you're under the age of 16, you're not allowed to access this. Which a lot of people, especially parents, on a knee jerk reaction is good. Like, yeah, the kids should not be on these fucking websites, and I would agree. I definitely agree that these kids shouldn't be on the websites. But at the same time, I don't think that the government of Australia's primary driving force behind this is we got to protect the kids is from fucking uh brain rot. Like I don't think they're caring. They care one bit about protecting the kids from brain rot. What I think they care about is of course this would force everybody to have some sort of digital identification tracker to know who is trying to access these sites, and are you over the age of 16, right? So essentially, of course, I don't know if any of this is actually in the bill, but again, how do you enforce something like this? Without having to have some sort of digital identification for everybody within your nation that's trying to access certain websites. Again, just slippery slope fallacy. We already know where digital ID ends up going, um, but I mean, yeah. There's that other side of it. What's your thoughts on that one?
Well, to get verified, like on X, for instance, you got to submit your ID. You know what I mean, and a fucking photo. You know, what I mean, it's and not again, not that I agree with this. Like getting verified or something, that's a choice. I don't think this should be forced on anyone. I think that the protection of children falls back on adults, and I believe it. Same way. It's like a massive facial recognition control situation. And, what better way to map everyone's fucking current features, right? You got to get verified to use social media. I don't know about the digital ID, of course. That's the WEF and the EU, and the fucking the WHO that's pushing for that. I don't know, like you said, if that's actually coming out of there or not. but I can see them trying to make you, verify yourself.
Yeah.
Same thing, YouTube, once they maybe do the same thing to unlock my fucking account, I mean, and I had to do a video. I had to do a fucking 10-second video, dude, you know?
I guess it really does kind of come down onto who the duty of enforcement falls on. If it falls on the government, they have to use digital IDs of some sort. If it falls on the private entity, then of course it could be something as simple as, like when you're logging on to a fucking porn website. Are you over the age of 18? Yes. Cool.
Mhm.
Confirmed, verified. It really does, I guess, kind of depend, on who's actually going to be enforcing these rules.
You gotta be signed into a verified Google account to use the fucking inner zones and shit, dude, like,
Right. I mean,
over
what?
here, we're over here, they're, like, trying to decide on whether they wanna pressure them to sell shit off, and, other countries, they're like, "Help us take control of the populations," you know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, you really never know what angle they're coming from, but the one
Yeah.
thing that you do know is their end goal is always more power.
Yep, but, with the TikTok shit, I've read several different, conflicting, accounts, but one of them basically said that it would only ban the app, that you could still access it through Google and shit, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, like I say, it wouldn't make it impossible to access it. You could still access it, but it'd
Right.
be the same thing as like, oh, why don't we use fucking Russian, what the fuck do they use? Like, I don't know, some weird fucking app like that. But why don't we use, these Russian apps or something like that? That way we can learn what's going on over there. Well, you can. It's just difficult to access. You have to fucking go through. You have to hide your IP address, pretend like you're accessing it from a computer over in Russia. Like, it's not as simple as just getting an app on your phone and clicking the button. You get a notification every 30 minutes to make sure that your mind is still stimulated and thinking about whatever social media platform is trying to get your attention at the moment. Dude, I can't stand YouTube's fucking, I get like 50 fucking notifications from them a day. Like, some of them I would like to see too, like when certain creators go live and stuff like that. But dude, it's like so many of them. It's just ridiculous,
I
but
only get shit I sub to, that's it.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's might be a setting or something like that, but yeah, I'll get. I guess yeah, I usually only get them from stuff that I sub to, but um, yeah, I don't know. Either way,
That's creators bumping that shit out, dude, you know what I mean?
right? But but yeah, so uh, I forgot where I was going with it, but yeah, TikTok.
Right, man. I mean, like I said, it wouldn't hurt me. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I tell you they actually randomly unlocked my account, dude. Like I was on a fucking, like an alternate account and one of the posts popped up and I clicked on it and they unlocked my shit. No explanation, nothing, dude. You know what I mean? And so I got like thousands of fucking subs on there. I don't give a shit if they, you know what I mean? Shut her down, dude.
Right?
Fuck
Do you
the
think they do
ideological
stuff?
subversion.
Do you think they do stuff like that to try and get more support? Like, it's like, oh, we banned you and stuff, and you've been banned for like a year or whatever, but what, we decided to give you your account back. Like, don't worry, go at it, have fun. You go get him, Tiger. You
Right.
know,
Right.
just to get people, because they know that this is basically going through the courts right now, and it's basically a lot of stuff really does kind of weigh on public opinion, at least when conservatives are in power. Democrats don't really give a shit. They do whatever the fuck they want. They manufacture public opinion. So
Yeah, shit they're outraged about today with the possibility of tomorrow, they'll be totally cheering on those exact actions in physical form. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy shit the way that they can just flip switches on them.
yep, yep. It's the madness of the crowd. I guess if you could
It,
figure out, I think we were talking about it last week. Is that my whoever can throw the right chair that gets everybody to fucking flip out. Like, that's they've figured it out. They know how to fucking aim these bitches perfectly.
it's like
They've
mass psychosis, dude. It
yeah,
really is, man.
yep,
Like to the extent of anything you've seen, like during the C 1984 bit. Like, these people are like that every fucking day, it's just
yep,
for a different reason,
yeah.
hour to hour.
Yeah, they really did. In a way, you could say that they finally figured out mind control. Just half the population is kind of immune to it. I'd say maybe like a good quarter of the population is immune to it, and every now and then another good 25 to 30% is able to peer through the veil slightly for a second. But I think they got that mind control shit down.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it also we know is, the emotional play. I mean, with not only the fear, but also the like, we're trying to look out for you. Is you
Right.
know what I mean? We want to give you free stuffs.
Right. We're
we're
doing it's for your own best interest. We want to keep you safe.
like you said earlier, we're looking out for the kids. No government gives two shits about your kids, and
Right.
theirs are always going to be fine.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
At least financially, if you look at a lot of these people's kids, these people's kids end up fucked up.
Right,
And
but I mean, the
case
majority
in
of the time
point,
they're fine. Like, right, old biddens, right? That's
right?
me.
Yeah. So fine is a relative term, I guess, in this situation. Yeah.
But at
Or
the same
a
time, he's
subjective
skating
term.
fucking free, man. I mean,
Yeah, dude.
not just on charges, but $300,000 in back rent and, so on and so on, a
Yeah.
blanket fucking pardon basically for over a decade. I mean, just
Right. From January of 2014 until December of 2024.
and
Like in basically almost 11 years. Just
at the time that he
anything that
announced
he
it, it
might have
was like in
done.
the future. Like he
Yeah.
basically had like over a day, you're
Yep.
immune, dude.
Yep. Hence the
Immunity.
the thumbnail fucking Hunter Biden on his.
Right. That night.
Oh man. Yeah, dude.
Cocaine, hell of
Fucking
a drug.
right. But yeah, so fucking dude. I mean, like I said, we all saw this coming, but like I said, we thought it was gonna be coming like after Christmas or some shit like that. Right after fucking Thanksgiving, right? While everybody's all stuffed and with their families and shit like that. It, I don't know why they would do one like this. Like, like I say, it was during the holiday, everybody's gonna be out and about and shit like that, not paying too much attention to the news, whatever. Um they did it like almost like it was one of those things that was going to go unnoticed, or they were going to try and sneak out while nobody's paying attention and
Right.
shit.
Friday
Dude,
evening news and shit.
how the fuck are we gonna miss that, dude? Like, right? Like, how in the fuck are you gonna miss that, dude? Like, if anything, like that's the type of shit that you probably should have came out and just like announced everywhere. Like, I don't know. I mean, like, is well, the one thing is it did fucking shake up the Democrats. I mean, the Democrats are completely torn up about it. There's like three people, like Whoopi Goldberg and fucking what is it, Dan Goldman, like maybe one other person out there that are still like, no, what, no, Biden did the right thing. Like, yeah. All right. So again, we've as we talked about it before. If I was Joe Biden, I would fucking pardon my kid. Sorry, that's the way it is. That's fucking that's parenthood. That's you forgive your kid. You try to look out for him. I mean, most people's fucking kids don't end up being what they want them to be, but nonetheless, you still love them. You know, so yeah, it's not nobody fucking thought that Joe Biden was just gonna sit there and let Hunter Biden go to fucking prison. Everybody knew that was gonna happen. The part that everybody's pissed off about is that he went on a whole fucking campaign about how nope, I'm gonna, the rule of law stands. Like, fucking, we have a system of justice in this country, and fucking, if the rule of law is, it, nobody is above the law. Fucking that whole thing. Korean Jean Pierre looks, dude. Korean Jean Pierre is fucking blushing right now. As dark as she is, she's fucking red as can be right now. At least I would imagine. But yeah, Democrats are fucking pissed, man. But of course, as we've talked about before, there's two, now maybe even three factions of Democrats, and it's basically the old guard fucking uh I guess kind of warmonger neocon or neo lib fucking leftists, and then there's the
The communist fucks, you man.
leftists, right? The
Right.
fucking yeah, the fucking there's the warmongering communists, and then there's the fucking idiot revolutionary communists that think like, oh, fucking, we need to bring down the corporations, bro. We need to go fucking put some caps in some CEOs and shit like that. Like, then there's those kind of fucking people, and that's it. And it seems now that there's one more faction, and that's Whoopi Goldberg and Dan Goldman, which is the people that
Completely fucking delusional.
right, the Biden lovers for whatever fucking reason. That, like I said, and all the evidence points to Joe Biden did not actually drop out himself. Joe Biden was pushed out. He was fucking straight pushed out of the fucking nest. Like, bye bye. Because yeah, everything that he's done since then has been, it's either one, really pissed off the Democrats, or it's divided the Democrats even farther, you know?
Or destructive to America. He definitely
Right,
hasn't
right.
let go of that.
Yeah,
It,
I
you
mean
know,
that's still, he's still got a contract to fulfill with the Chinese Communist Party. But yep. There you go, Joe. Here's to you, man.
yeah, man. Obviously, dude, I would pardon my son too. Yeah, I mean, come on, dude. That's fucking just about everyone except Matt Walsh. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, Puritan fuck, right? But like you said, he shouldn't have bullshitted about it, but it was to keep up the pretense of impartiality as they tried to destroy, the Trumps and working backdoor deals, letting statute of limitations expire, shit like that. So they brought up charges that wouldn't directly implicate Biden unless they went into further digging or Hunter started squealing, which you got some supposed leaks that say behind the scenes Hunter's legal team was pressuring Biden, basically saying if you don't give him a pardon, like he's gonna talk in court. But it's funny that this pardon goes back to when he was vice president, when Hunter got the job at Burisma. I mean, when the whole scheme fucking started, basically. And so that's he pardoned himself. I mean, basically he didn't pardon Hunter. And
Right.
and then also I think keeping up that pretense again for impartiality. They this was probably a pressure thing too. Like, don't worry, we'll get Kamala in, she'll pardon them. That type of situation. And then you started hearing rumblings of Trump possibly doing it. And when asked, he was like, I'd seriously consider it. And so they surely didn't want Trump to get that kind of fucking win. That's
Right.
way too much. And the Goldman's hilarious, especially the clip that went viral where she tells him first,
Stunned.
when yeah, when the plea bargain fucking the day that it was denied by the judge, you went on to say this, and then he tries to, well, if the plea bargain would have went through, she was like, it was already done. It was already, it had already
Right.
fucking,
The literally
been denied.
the third bar fucking down there was saying Hunter Biden plea just like you were literally talking on that subject. Like,
Yeah.
uh, hey, look at this. This is great. Let me share the screen real quick. We'll be able to
Yeah, this
watch
is one of
this.
the biggest lying sacks of shit in Washington, and that's saying something, dude. Right? And this is the dumbest male in Congress, Doc.
Oh, they got the video. All right. Let's check this out real quick, guys.
In July of 2023, just after the deal fell through, this is what you said. I want to watch.
Do you think a
Trump
pardon
said,
for
deal
his
fell
son
through.
would be a mistake?
Yes, and I don't think there's any chance that President Biden is going to do that, unlike his predecessor, who pardoned all of his friends and anyone who had any access to him. And I think you see that in this case, where he kept on, and Merrick Garland kept on, a Trump-appointed U.S. attorney to investigate the president's son. If there is not an indication of the independence of the Department of Justice beyond that, I don't know what we could look for.
What does that feel like, watching yourself back then, reassuring people that Biden was not going to issue a pardon for his son?
Yeah, and I think that if that plea agreement and that plea deal had gone through, there would be no pardon. That was a satisfactory outcome.
It had already fallen
that
through.
Only was. Sorry?
When you reacted, this was when the deal had fallen through. In July.
Absolute fucking clown, dude. You can't believe that your fellow countrymen repeatedly vote for these fucking morons, dude. Like, this guy is a complete stooge and will just toe
Right.
the party line regardless of how ridiculous.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is anybody? I mean, what the one thing that I noticed, he talks about the plea deal, and that was one thing that was fishy to everybody. So much so that even the judge had to like, I can't put my fucking stamp on this. This is essentially a pardon, right? The pardon was, I mean, the plea deal was almost identical to the pardon. Right? It basically did the same thing. It exonerated fucking um, Hunter Biden of basically everything that he did. Is basically, oh, we'll just bang the gavel and all is good, and then we'll also make sure that we include immunity for anything else that he might have done. Yeah, so that was the reason that the pardon that the see, I use them interchangeably. That's the reason that the plea deal fell through, is because the judge basically is like, this is a bit too obvious, you guys. This is gonna make me look really bad. um, at least
Yeah,
that's
and
what I get from it, because of course Merrick Garland is the person that is in control of all of this.
yeah,
He's the
squishy
boss of
fucking lizard.
everybody that's playing in this fucking game right now, at least judicially.
Yep, real shit.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. And at the same time, now you got all the Democrats like, me next, Joe Biden, me next, me next. Like, and pardon me. And one person that I guess is being considered for pardon is one Anthony Fauci. Bum, bum, bum. All right, so we need no explanation of Anthony Fauci, and of course, even if we did, we'd probably get banned off of YouTube. So anyway, Anthony Fauci is looking for a essentially a blanket pardon as well, because of course he believes that the Trump administration is going to be going after him, and they should. I mean, in all honesty, what's your thoughts on a Fauci pardon?
If you didn't do anything wrong, why do you need a pardon, right? I mean,
Right,
and they say that kind of shit when they try to implement draconian policies all the time. If you didn't do nothing wrong, you don't got nothing to worry about. But I mean, it's recorded. This dude's lied, repeatedly in front of Congress and the Senate. But it just I mean, the dude's a monster. Basically, he's responsible for deaths and hysteria, and not just during COVID. I mean, even during the
twice,
AIDS epidemic in
motherfucker.
the early '80s. Yeah, I mean, just the guy's a monster. He definitely deserves to be behind bars, man.
100%, man. So yeah, if again, I don't know how much further the Democrats' reputation can be, sullied at this point, but I'm pretty sure this would, you know, further it just a little bit more. Um,
My
but
dude, and you got the leftists, like the heads, steady making excuses for these pardons, like with the Hunter shit. They're like, oh, just some taxes shit that got paid back, and weapons. There was never any violence. The gun was never used. Like, dude, obtained illegally. Like, yes, you would be charged. The ATF would love to get a hold of you for some shit like that, right? Lying on your fucking Nix form, right? And
right,
then on top of that, dude, it was thrown into a dumpster, right by a fucking school. And then with the taxes, we're talking about millions of fucking dollars. Like
right,
it's not just, like he owed a couple $1,000 and he had to get his wages his wages garnished. Like the dude owed millions in back taxes and lied about it, tried to write off like hookers and fucking 2-day escorts and crazy shit and
fucking porn
paying crazy
websites,
prices. Yeah, like paying chicks like $11,000 a night and shit. Like what the fuck, man?
right. At the same time, too, I mean, in terms of the laptop itself, Lee, there's lots more other Epstein-esque, you know, stuff going on in there too. And again, I don't I don't know much about it because, of course, one, you're not necessarily allowed to talk about it, and at the same time, there's so much more on the laptop that other people are focusing on. But of course, there is some quite young looking girls on that laptop as well too. So I mean, there's just a whole litany of absolute evil that Joe Biden basically just said, oh. So for people that have been screaming about nobody's above the law as they fucking politically persecute or as they judicially persecute their political opponents, meanwhile he's over here pardoning his son for this again. Like we say, they wrote a book called Laptop from Hell, and that's a really fitting title. Like that thing's evil.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen some of the leaked videos. You know, I mean, it's obvious he's dragging some broad down the hallway by her hair. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And then apparently, his brother's wife that he was, fucking after his brother died, went on to say that she felt he was being inappropriate with her daughter, and that that's his niece, his blood fucking niece. I mean, yeah, these people are sick fucks, and the Biden shit. There's been sexual claims against him too, and it keeps going. This is modus operandi as far as the weapons they use on the right. Everything has to do with sexual crimes and innuendos and infidelity. But yet this is right there in your face, and they're like, he's just a good guy. He's overcoming
Right.
his demons. Is
Right.
I
He's
mean, the double standard is fucking real wide.
right. And it's funny too, dude. Like you always have to remind yourself because the one thing with the propaganda, they did a really good fucking job of this, of over stressing that they're going after Joe Biden's kid. They're going after his kids. They're going after
Right.
Joe Biden's kid, man. This guy's in his fucking 50s. This guy ain't no fucking kid. He wasn't even a kid back when he was doing all this shit. It's not like he was just some young kid off at college that, like, oh, my dad sent me off to go live abroad and I was out partying with fucking Ukrainian prostitutes and then he had me sit on the board of this. Like, no, the dude was in his late 40s to probably early 50s during the time of this stuff going down. So I mean, it's they overstress the point of like, oh, they're going after his kid. Like, dude, this guy is a grown man who has several kids who he never sees himself. So I mean,
Right.
he's not a kid,
Yeah, and then like you said, dude, again, the double standard is just fucking absolutely ridiculous. I mean, these people are just fucking reptiles, leches, and it's always, you got to let it go. They made a mistake, what have you? It's under the rug. And it's fucking crazy out here, man. While you see people, lose jobs of their fucking lifetime again, like with the Matt Gates shit. I mean, to me, that's a domino. That's that lost traction. And it's all
right,
because of some bullshit sexual claim that the DOJ fucking, investigated, found nothing, no charges were brought. And with the Biden thing, he's saying my son's being unjustly targeted. Like, are you admitting that the DOJ is fucking corrupt and, out of control? Like, I mean, that's your DOJ, you know?
right, yep. And like the whole thing with the sexual assault thing and shit like that was an egregious misuse of justice, especially considering the fact that they allowed just for one special day, if you want to bring forth any
Oh,
allegations, doesn't matter how long ago they were, you could do that. Oh, E. Jean Carroll, oh, what a surprise, oh, it's
right.
amazing that you're here. Like, oh my goodness, But meanwhile, dude, like I was watching the local news the other night, and I guess just recently, with the new advances in DNA technology and shit, they were going over cold case rape kits from here in Arizona, and they ended up getting a match to like over a dozen. Uh, um, so I guess essentially the person was a serial rapist for quite
Right.
some time. It turns out he was a firefighter for the majority of his career, and yeah, that basically all they could do is go and take news interviews with them, like, and hope that they could shed some light on it to the public and shit. But nope, it's past the statute of limitations and shit like that. Like you would think that they would make almost like special occasions for things like that. But I understand the
Like they did with
statutes of
Trump.
limitation, right? But like I say, that's the real egregious shit. Is like people out here are actual fucking rape victims. People out here are actually getting assaulted, and people out here are actually getting hurt, and having their lives destroyed. And but don't worry, those people, they're not politically fucking advantageous for us to go ahead and help them out and shit. So don't worry about that. But don't worry, we'll make a special occasion just for this, like completely unprecedented. And like I say, it's basically the same thing that we're seeing all over the place right now. Like fucking, they just sent another like $1 billion over to the middle of fucking Africa and shit to help with some sort of disaster. Meanwhile, the people in North Carolina are still sleeping out fucking side
Yeah.
after their homes were destroyed. Like it's the same exact thing. It's just these people are disgusting. And I think the whole double standard thing too, it really is kind of playing to our advantage too, because it's so much so it's so ridiculous that you can't ignore it. If you like we talked about before, like if you're still undecided at this point as to what's going on, you're either not paying any attention whatsoever, or you're just fucking a weird fucking psycho communist and you like this type of stuff. You know, that's the only two fucking options to where you would still be supporting the Democrats and the establishment fucking people right now, or they have you on some sort of blackmail list, which is, I'm pretty sure, the whole reason they have a bunch of fucking celebrity endorsements and shit.
Not to mention, dude, your tax dollars pay for settling out of court with sexual claims for representatives in the tens of millions of dollars on a regular basis. I mean, even Thomas Massey's talked about it, tweeted
Mhm.
about it, and I've read it and heard about it, previously. And
Right.
so I mean, again, this is lizards pointing the finger at regular people,
You-
because of just wild
Taxpayers pay
claims.
so much money in government settlements from police to that, like
Yeah.
just
But then, like, with the
billions
Trump thing
every
in New
year.
York, they extended the statute of limitations for, fucking who knows when, because E. Jean Carroll couldn't tell you the year.
Right.
You know what I mean? But, they extended it so they could fuck with him. And then a New York councilman got wrapped up in the same shit because they extended the statute. And then as soon as, he felt the brunt, boom, they changed the law right back. Like,
Yep.
I mean, that shouldn't even be, an actual legal process. Like, the law is the law. It has to be voted on. It's a 2/3 fucking state, senate or what have you to pass, to
Right.
amend fucking an already existing law. I mean, just like the structure's supposed to be, right? Republic. It's not a fucking democracy. It's not a dictatorship, or not supposed to be an oligarchy, right? Or the cockistocracy we have now. But you get the point.
You're right. Yep. So yeah, if I can, I don't know, man. Just the amount of corruption that goes on here is just insane. Just and it really is. It's our own fault. Through our bliss, we've grown ignorant. That's the way I describe America. They gave us fucking all these shows and fucking 31 different flavors to choose from of ice cream and shit. Like, they gave us every fucking thing that we could ever ask for. Meanwhile, while we were sitting there fucking yay happy as can be, they're fucking sitting there lubing it up and fucking sticking it us. Like they really fucked us over because of the fact that they gave us fucking candy. And that's about it. It really, we from our bliss we grew ignorant.
Even
And
the
that's how
candy,
they
you got
really
rotted
do
teeth
all-
and fucking diabetes.
Right. Don't worry, we'll hook you up with some fluoride.
Right.
Right. Like, it really is that bad. Like, it really is the public's own fault. And that's the problem with I guess freedom is you're free to not give a shit too. You're free to let the government run roughshod over you, I guess. Yeah,
Decades of fucking voting for the lesser of two evils, the repercussions of, and
Right.
a pretty self-entitled fucking generation that has primarily ran the country for fucking decades.
Yeah. Yep. Fucking talk about democracy, man. This is a straight fucking elitist society. So I guess you could call it a democracy. Yeah.
I saw this meme that said, when your parents said, "I'll give you something to cry for," and nothing happened. It's what they meant was they were going to destroy fucking the market, the value of the dollar, fucking Social Security.
Right. It's a holiday in Cambodia.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, fucking definitely some bullshit, man. Especially with the Fauci thing, man. That's
But it
probably
ain't
the
just
most
him. I
egregious,
mean, you're hearing fucking Cheney, you're hearing Schiff. You know what I
Right.
mean? I mean, of course, Schiff, right? That fucking goddamn pencil neck fucking reptile there, bro. If anyone needed charges, it's definitely that guy. And they're talking about one for Miley. And I didn't know you could get a pardon for treason.
That's
You know?
fucking insane.
Right.
Right. Well, it's blanket. We're not going to say anything specific, just anything that he might have done.
I mean,
Yeah.
and that guy went behind, the commander in chief's back and, privately communicated with an adversarial fucking government and, reassured them that he would prevent any kind of fucking weapons launch and shit like, who the fuck is this guy, man?
Right.
It's your
Yeah,
white rage showing through, little Bobby. Remember, that's the same
nuts.
general that sat in front of Congress and said that, he wants to learn about white rage and he thinks soldiers should learn about white rages and, equality. right?
Right.
I mean, word on the street that picture you see going around the inner zones of the general wearing a dog mask. That's your boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, who knows, right? But
Yeah. I
I
mean,
definitely wouldn't doubt it. If I
right.
saw
It
that
could.
dude in high heels tomorrow, I'd be like, "Yep."
Yeah. I knew it. Yeah. Hopefully we could get some of this wokeness out of our everywhere, to be honest. But hopefully with some of these, new appointments, namely, Cash Patel and Pete Hegseth, hopefully we could get some of this wokeness out of our military. Hopefully we could get some of this corruption out of our federal law enforcement. But yeah, so I mean, there's controversy, as the left would put it. Most of us would just put it as terror from the left, which is, like I said, in left wing terms, called controversy. On these two particular nominations by Donald Trump, the first one, Cash Patel, it's really because he's good at his job. that's the whole fucking reason. That's their main fucking thing against him. They're trying to say like, oh, he botched what was it, a rescue or some shit like that. Well, he almost botched it. The person still got rescued and shit. Like, then he didn't fucking botch shit. Like, what the fuck are you
Hey,
guys talking about? Like,
so he did what he was supposed to do.
right? Like, so you still got the mission complete, right? Like, yeah. The fuck you
Right,
guys
he's
talking
worked in
about?
intelligence. He's worked in anti-fucking terror. I mean, the guy's been a prosecutor, prosecuted way more cases than fucking Camel Toes, but she was the most qualified ever, right? I mean,
Right.
you could keep going about the guy, but all they can say is, he's going to be meanses.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Mean to you, motherfuckers, because you guys deserve it.
Right. Again, that's that whole projection thing. They know what they've done. So, of course, you think like them, right? I mean,
Right.
you're going to do the same thing. You're going to weaponize all the government. Like, no, we want to fucking eliminate a vast majority of the government. We don't want to weaponize it. Get the fuck out of here. Like,
Right.
the Ron Paul quote, if you eliminate the Fed, what are you going to replace it with? Well, if you get a tumor fucking, removed, what are you going to replace it with? Absolutely nothing, man.
Yep. Yeah. These motherfuckers are a cancer. You gotta eradicate that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the just the way that it goes. You don't take evil and place it somewhere. You eradicate it from your society. You don't fucking put it into a nice little neighborhood or to put them into ghettos or what the fuck ever. If there's something evil within your society, you rid yourself of such evil.
Or water it the fuck down. Like Cash is actually talking, how they're like, he wants to eliminate the FBI. Like, no, he doesn't. It's not what he said. He wants to close down the massive headquarters in DC and disperse them across the country and make them do their fucking job.
Right. Yep. Yeah. Actually, if I can, put them in the field, maybe put them actually chasing down drug dealers and violent offenders and all these other people that they're supposed to be chasing down, but meanwhile they're getting paid by, or I don't know what the fuck ever. Again, it's all just hyperboles, but yeah, they're basically going to actually have to show up and do their job now, which again is another thing that Elon Musk is threatening the federal government with, is the federal government's not going to be able to work remotely from home anymore. They're going to actually have to come into the office and show up, which again is another thing that we saw him do with Twitter when he took it over. It was one of the first things he did after he fucking got rid of, what was it, like 60% or something like that, like the first week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
pretty high number, man. It was just fucking the axe, entire departments.
Right. Yeah. And then basically everybody else, if you're not going to come into work, consider yourself as not having a job. So he's already saying that too. And essentially that's the same thing that Cash Patel is saying, that like, oh, okay, well, how about rather than just having an honorary position where you just get a fucking paycheck and just for existing, you don't actually have to do anything or contribute anything. How about we actually send you down to this office and you go out in the field and you do some investigations and, you go dig and do some police work, maybe,
That's what Cash said. You're police. Go be police.
Right.
You're cops. Like, fuck, man.
Right.
Yeah. And, with the Elon shit, I mean, he, posted some shit with some stats saying, the reported numbers about 6% of the federal workforce works like 40 hours in an office setting, man. And then then he went on to say, once you disregard like security guards, janitors, shit like that, people that have to be there 40 hours a week, it's more like 1%. And then I also heard a Chris Plant show this morning that a guy was saying that people would come in, you only got to be there one time a month. So that they would come in the last day of the month and the first day of the month. So basically, you got 2 months to fucking dick off, man.
Right. Must be nice, man. Must
Right.
be nice.
All all at your expense and getting full wages.
Personally, I couldn't do it, man. I don't see how people could, actually live that way and just not, like, I would be constantly just waiting for the bottom to fall out. I wouldn't be able to be comfortable just getting a random paycheck, even though I know that I don't actually do anything.
Right.
Like I don't think I'd just be constantly on edge, like freaking waiting for the bottom to fall out. Like, I'm probably the most useless fucking eater on this fucking chain right here. Like, yeah, I couldn't do that type of shit. So,
I mean, I'm sure that there's some of them that get work done. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Right.
my lady works at home and she fucking slaves, dude. I mean,
Right.
she's constantly doing shit. So they move her around in different departments and shit like that. And I mean, so I'm sure that there is.
Government.
Right. I mean, she's cool with it. She digs it. But
Yeah.
I'm sure there's people that do work, but for the most part, we know production, plummeted. You look at the COVID situation when everyone was working from home and productivity was fucking, through the
Right.
goddamn floor.
Meanwhile, TikTok videos on how you could get a fucking little bobbing head to go and
Right.
move your
14-year-old
mouth.
kids making $1 million from TikTok and shit.
Right.
Fucking nurse videos.
Yeah.
Everyone's dying since dude, the place is overcrowded. Watch this dance grooves.
Yeah, people have gone insane. I mean, it's obviously it's been quite a while, but it's almost kind of hard to remember the pre-COVID brain of people,
Before the
obviously
new normal.
Right. The people were still fucking idiots out there, but now the people are frightened idiots, which is even worse, and dude, they are afraid of everything, every fucking thing you could think of. They are afraid of it. They're afraid of fucking too many bugs in the world. They're afraid of losing the bugs in the world. They're afraid of fucking of losing the trees. Oh, they're also afraid of carbon dioxide, which is what trees actually breathe in. We must eliminate, like, dude, these people are afraid of everything, and so they're trying to eliminate every fucking thing around them, just not knowing that literally everything around them is quite literally their safety fucking structure net. Like, without without oil, none of this shit exists. None of your fucking things that you have to bitch about exist. You won't be able to fucking even whinge on the fucking internet if we didn't have fucking oil. If we didn't have fucking plastic to fucking make the monitors and the fucking the chips and all that shit, which is mined out with machines that run on motherfucking oil. Like, if none of this shit would be possible. Like, if it wasn't for all the shit that you sit and bitch about and fearmonger over all day long,
Right. Yeah, your jacket, your shoes. I mean, you could just keep going with that shit. Petrol products, man.
Right. Yep. Yeah,
I mean, a lot of that you can replace, right? Old commercial hemp, but I don't ever see it going away 100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not to mention it, you'd have to do some overnight shift almost if you wanted to, because otherwise you're just going to crash the fucking economy. You're going to fuck everything up. I mean, you see the repercussions of Biden trying to push, the Green New Deal through his administration, which apparently, they've admitted at the EPA, they're shoveling as much money out to green causes as they can before Trump comes into office. I mean, to them, it's a blank check, man. Just it's whimsical shit.
It really is, it's just it's a cash grab for them, as we saw.
Hey.
What was it like $8 billion they spent to fucking install electric vehicle chargers all over the country. They installed fucking 7.
Yeah.
That's fucking, dude, that's a fucking scam. That's straight
Mayor
money.
Pete will tell you that's a good start. He's like, we've already started.
Right. We plan on having them all in by 2030.
Right.
You're fucking failure, dude. Like, go fucking
Time's
die
ticking, man. You've done 7 in fucking 4 years. You know what I mean? Like, and you got 6 years left. I mean, less 5 years. So I mean,
Right.
you know, how much of that are you actually going to achieve with those fucking billions? It's
All right. Sorry if we're not the most optimistic on your, your abilities, Pete. But
right.
yeah, dude, that's fucking insane. I guarantee you, half of those motherfucking people that he had going installing were fucking actually fronts for, I don't know, some fucking weirdo trannies online. I don't know, some weirdo fucking LGBT shit.
I'd rather see some more racist bridges and overpasses be built, man. You know what I mean? Make the flow of traffic better. Yeah, if you want to cut down on carbon a whole bunch, man, stop cars from stop and go, fucking sitting at lights and shit like that.
Right.
Traffic, you
Yep.
know,
You don't
and instead we have
bypass Compton.
yeah, and instead we have city planners that are totally complete morons that will put in these fucking Michigan turnarounds where you got to drive a quarter mile past your stop to turn around, and I mean, you know, you could just keep going, turn lanes instead of just
Yep.
open shit where again it's curbed, so then it backs up into oncoming traffic. I mean, they're just fucking idiots, dude.
Yeah.
I'm
Shit.
definitely not an engineer, but I can see when something works or not, man. You know.
Yeah. Well, if you were an engineer, you would see when something that perceptibly doesn't work actually works.
Right.
Right. You can see the good in everything, man.
Especially if I had a Blix vagina, dude, because then,
Right. As long as it's gay, though, it's definitely got to be gay.
know.
Otherwise, the magic doesn't work that way. You only get to your bachelor's degree. You'll never get your doctorate that way.
Unless I get it from fucking Tim.
Right. $25.
Yep. $25 sub, dude. You're now an MD, doc.
Right. Did you see the videos of that college where they're just letting fucking people decide what their fucking major is? Like, even if it doesn't actually exist.
No.
Like I majored in Black equality studies in the 16th century. Like, is that even a subject? Like, no, I just made it up though. Like good for you, man. Like, here's your degree. How do you spell that again?
It's like
Yeah,
Common Core math and stuff.
right. That'd be
Fucking,
fucking that'd be $30,000 that you could make fucking high interest payments over the next 50 years of your life. Right. Fucking
Yeah.
insane. Yeah. I remember being young and just like, man, I know I'm never gonna get to go to college. Now I'm like, fuck, dude, I'm glad I didn't get to go to fucking college, man. Son of a bitch, dude. That would have sucked.
You'd be sitting here with green hair right now and shit. And fucking,
Yeah, probably.
I might be on for a debate, and that's it.
Right. Right. It'd just be highly edited. Like, I got the clips I wanted, man. We're good.
Right.
Yep. But speaking of some heavy debate, man, SCOTUS is deciding on whether or not the Tennessee transgender ban can be upheld.
That's where I
I
was
don't know.
trying to go with the Blix vagina, dude.
Right. I don't know. I don't know what the actual title of the bill is, or the ban, or whatever. But essentially, it's banning children from getting their genitals chopped off and mutilated by doctors who basically have an incentive to manipulate the youth in order to make them feel that they are born in the wrong body. So essentially, that has already been appealed all the way up to the Supreme motherfucking Court now. And now the Supreme Court's deciding on it. Of course, we do have a bit of a conservative leaning Supreme Court. So it's a good chance that it's probably going to be decided in favor of banning it, which, yeah, because that shit's fucking weird, So they were also, from what I heard a little snippet of something where they're basically talking about gender fluidity, right, and whether or not that's actually protected under the Civil Rights Act. It
And of
really
course, the
does,
Optimus Prime fucking attorney was like, yes.
right? Yes, it is. Right. So, which of course he got the quick rebuttal of, I can't remember. But it was something along the lines of like, oh well, how can you be protected if it doesn't matter, if you're able to pick and choose, that's not an immutable characteristic.
Yeah,
So
like you guys don't even know what you're arguing.
right. Man, it really is. Like I say, it's fucking brain rot. These people are insane. Like it's not even like just like oh, you're fucking crazy. You know, like the left is crazy. Like no, like they are crazy. Like they are broken. They have been brainwashed and fucking they're gone. You know, uh,
Absolutely.
psycho.
Yeah, but it's on the bench as well. You know, I mean, of course, you know, the diversity judges are on there saying some ludicrous shit. You got Sotomayor, you know, comparing fucking giving hormone blockers and shit to kids to giving kids aspirin and just you know crazy shit. And then you have what is Ketanji Brown comparing it to what is it biracial marriages. Like what the fuck? Like what does it got to do with they got to bring race and everything? I mean that tells you base level fucking intellect, right? I mean it's fucking racism. It has absolutely nothing to do with that. It's pretty common sense. You shouldn't cut fucking children's genitals off regardless of what the fuck they say. Let them turn
Right.
18 and fucking make that choice themselves. And the whole fucking puberty thing, I mean, you're destroying your body. I mean, ultimately, I guess it is your choice as fucking, a conscious being, right? But dude, you're destroying yourself, sanitizing yourself. And sometimes, you get the chuckle like, well, it's kind of a good things, but now you're seeing these videos surface of these kids that are like, this was a horrible mistake. And I was like basically conned or pressured or peer pressured into it, and I regret it. Now I can't have children, you know?
Right. I see a lot of like heavy fucking psych meds and shit like that in the same way, like Adderall and Ritalin and all that type of shit. It's really kind of the same type of thing. I mean, obviously, it's not the same in the same category or anything like that. I mean, other than medicine, but I mean,
Stunts you
in
mentally for sure.
right. It definitely fucks these people's brains up. They don't develop the way that they're probably supposed to. Like a kid's like hyperactive and bouncing off the wall and not paying attention too much and prefers drawing fucking pictures of fucking hot rods rather than listening to the teacher and shit like that. And you want to put them on medication like because the kid's got ADHD, fucking XDY, and all these other fucking things and shit like that. Like no, actually, I think the kid's probably just fucking 7 and that's just how 7-year-olds fucking act.
Yeah.
It really is. This generation has just been pharmaceuticalized, like to the point where they treat it like it's God. It's you don't trust the science, like not really. Not really. The science gave us fucking a lot of bad shit. The science used to say fucking smoking a pack of cigarettes a day was good for you. Like that's what the science gave us back in the day. Like, no, I don't trust the fucking science. But this whole generation is just enamored with it. It's just everything. Oh, there's a pill for this, there's a pill for that. Like, fucking, the kid fucking has trouble focusing. Like, oh, we have a pill for that. Like, oh, the kid's fucking now a zombie. Like, don't worry, we have different pills for that too. And like it's just these people are human test subjects, and they're willing, and obviously these people, I mean, of course don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to like, modern medicine is the devil. No, modern medicine has done a lot of good for humanity. But in terms of like psych stuff, for the most part, I mean, of course, there are some people out there that really just need to be under fucking Thorazine constantly and fucking in a padded room. Don't get me wrong about that neither. But in terms of the youth, in terms of kids, you got to give them a chance to fucking grow into who they're gonna be. It's the same thing with like tattoos. You shouldn't be tattooing a fucking 12, 13-year-old. Is in the same way that you shouldn't be cutting off the genitals of someone around the same age as well. These kids don't know yet, and they haven't fully developed. They don't know who the fuck they are. It's not because they're born in the wrong body or because there's something wrong with their brain. Like the only thing wrong with their brain is the fact that they're 13. Like that's what's wrong with their brain. Like, it's a major fucking issue. But go
This
at it.
transmission attorney though that's fucking representing this case, man. You know, when questioned, I mean, she even said like, he, she, I don't even know what the fuck it is. I'll be real with
Right.
you. But went on to say, asked, about 2-year-olds, and she, yeah, like, kids could know as early as 2 if their transmissions is, you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? That the kid barely understands, English, let alone
Right.
the concept of sexuality and fucking gender and shit. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, man?
Right. Kids aren't thinking about that. Like kids really the only thing that they think at that, age is, how to copy their parents, to do what their parents do, to
Or older
everything is
siblings or
new
what
to
have
them.
you.
Yeah, right. Just
Yeah.
they copy the people that they see that are bigger than them. That's all that they do. It's the way that they see the world. That's the way that they learn the world. And then as they get older, of course, they start getting more hyperactive and shit like that because everything is new to them. And I could fucking move about this place, and I could do this, I could do that, I could do this. Like
Mhm.
everything is just new and exciting to them. So of course, if you introduce this type of garbage to their brain at such a young, tender age, where as they like to say all the time, kids' brains are like a sponge. They're going to soak up everything. They're going to soak that fucking tranny fluid up too.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
want them doing that. But
Right. And
of
again,
course,
that's where you're seeing
that's your agenda.
that goes back to the TikTok thing. I mean, that's where you're seeing these fucking creeps. Sky News will play the videos sometimes, where you're seeing these fools like telling kids, to cut off their family and shit if they're not letting you fucking transition or be yourself. And I mean, I'm your new family. Like, I
Right.
mean, just what, like you said, these fools should be fucking mental patients.
Yeah.
Instead, they move to California or to the median down the road. You know what I'm saying? And it's definitely a mental thing, but it's also, like the RFK, theme likes to point out, it's also the food. It's the shit that we've poured through our systems since we were fucking, toddlers.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be fucking people going through withdrawals and shit once RFK gets in and starts. Again, if if all this shit happens, everything really is. It's almost kind of one of those highs that you worry about. It's like, dude, like everything's gonna be so great, man. It's like, help. Next thing you know,
Right.
fucking
It's really not, man.
next thing you know, Trump was assassinated on Inauguration Day. Like, fuck, man. There goes the neighborhood. It's like it's really an uncertain time right now, but it's uncertain in an optimistic kind of way, I guess. And
Yeah,
especially,
to an extent, you got too many squishes, old timers in the fucking Senate, that are trying to fucking ruin it already. Of course,
yeah,
establishment fucks. The same. They don't want to see things be rehabilitated. They like the system. It's paid off for them.
yeah,
And it's not even the system. It's what they've turned it into. They've let it devolve into.
yep, yep. I don't even think it's devolved. I think this shit was all intentional. I think they just for generations now. It's just been people like, oh, fucking, how can we overextend our power? How can we get rich off of this? Like everybody, if we're all in on this together, then
Right.
everyone covers each other's asses. We could do whatever the fuck we want. That's our
Yeah, but
democracy.
right, but by devolved, I mean like as far as the voters and shit. I mean, again,
Right.
they voted for these same people for some of them 30, 40 fucking years, man. You
Yep.
know, I mean, you
Yep.
think like a Pelosi or a fuck is his name, Old Turtle Mitch, man. I mean, these people have been in office since we've been kids and shit.
Yep. And that's why I say, man, fucking they've grown ignorant in their bliss, and it's really based off of the promises, so I say this is kind of that blissful moment, that almost kind of desensitizes you to what is still going on, the very real threat that's still lingering within this nation right now. And it's the threat that's been overlooked for so long. And it's the snakes in the grass, the snakes that promise everything, promise this and that, and these are the people that we see that have built the establishment. These people with their empty promises that it's become a trope, like, oh, they'll promise the world. Most people don't expect them to get much any of that done, so again, it's I think it's these types of fucking like highs and low moments that is what keeps the people desensitized. That glimmer of hope, that America was always holding on to. Like it almost kind of makes you wonder, like fuck, dude, like if you could have been in the thick of it, like since fucking back in the day when fucking uh JFK was assassinated. Like, dude, like, could you imagine like the fuck that all those people felt at that moment, like,
Yeah,
and just time after time after time, just everybody you thought was fuck yeah, we're finally gonna fucking get back to being free. Yeah, just letdown after letdown. I'm pretty sure they would probably understand these high and low periods that, keeps America kind of just desensitized on this idea of hope that we're gonna finally get us a great one, you guys.
Yep, they know all about it. It's algorithms, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, you really wonder how much, any of these people. I mean, he is putting a lot of good people in key positions. Like I say, Cash Patel, Pete Hegseth, RFK Jr. Like I said, that's kind of a wild card. We actually we'll see how that ends up going. Of course, he's not in, I guess, too big of a position. He's basically going to be running the Michelle Obama fucking, let's get out, exercise, guys. He's going to be that guy.
He'd be running, the Department of Defense, man.
No, RFK.
Oh no, I was thinking.
Yeah.
I'm still on him then.
Yeah. No, I was talking fucking RFK. He's gonna be all right, guys. Let's eat our salaries, and you want to get strong like me? Don't I forgot? You want to get strong like me, don't you? Well, let me tell you what you gotta do, eh?
You want the Admiral or you want fucking RFK? Like, fuck, it's a definite change up.
Right? Yeah. They want to say RFK is fucking unqualified, but yeah, that's the person in charge of the Department of Health.
Right. That's the standard of solid health, mental and physical. But it's like that in a lot of Western countries. I'm sure you've seen, man, like secretaries and ministers of health around the West are just fucking, bloated weirdo trannies and fucking,
Right.
definitely not anyone you take health advice from.
Yeah.
And our current one, of course, is pushing the same shit that's, currently going on in the Supreme Court, Like you got to give kids these surgeries. It's life savings. And if you look at, actual like statistics, it doesn't decrease their chance of, suicidal fucking actions and whatnot. Like it actually stays right around the same. If it goes down, it's around 1 to 1.5%. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. It
like
really
that's
is.
all excuses, dude. That's just fear tactics.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really just, that's the way that they work. Like I said, everything to them is be afraid of this. Like, fucking, what was it? AOC, like, oh, if you want to, ban males from using the girls' bathroom, that means every single person, including children, are going to have their genitals checked before they walk in the bathroom.
Right. As
No,
if you
that's
can't
not
tell
how it
like,
works.
Right.
Yeah. That's actually not how it works. Okay. Yeah. If anything, I'm pretty sure, if anything, if it's ever enforced, it'd probably just be now you could bring forth a complaint. That's about it. Now if somebody goes in there, you could complain about it to the courts, actually, rather than just complaining about it.
Plus the ban that she's going on about using, as a fear is you're talking about federal buildings. And
Yeah.
plus again, all these Congress people have private bathrooms in their offices.
Right.
Shut the fuck up. You know what I mean?
You almost want to say, how many fucking little girls do you know are in the federal buildings right now? But don't answer that. We don't want to know, please.
Right.
In the Biden room.
Yeah, supposedly what's the alleged figure? Something like 300,000 kids missing and shit. That's fucking nuts.
Yeah, dude, just when they're kids, like that's the worst part of it, like, yeah, I mean, tons of people, die and shit over the border and shit, but it's the kids that you actually worry about, like that shit's fucked up. They don't deserve none of that shit. I don't give a fuck where they came from or what their families have done or what the fuck ever, no, I don't think any kid fucking deserves that type of shit. So
because Democrats always want slaves, dude. I mean,
yeah.
You've heard that one testimony in congressional chambers with Holly questioning a chick from HHS, and I mean, she admitted this stuff. I mean, she said, "Yeah, I mean, we're aware that they, are moved on to work in fucking factories, and they're doing dishes and all this kind of shit, like little kids. I mean, they're just creating slaves. The party of fucking, the slaves are, they never changed. The whole,
Right.
there was a flip flop of the part. No, there wasn't, man.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, definitely not. Yeah, man, but definitely some crazy times we're living through right now. Let's talk about motherfucking the United Healthcare CEO getting assassinated. Of course, that's been the big news all
Right.
week. So of course, I'm sure all you guys saw the video. Of course, we're not going to play it on here because I don't want this video to get taken down. But yeah, so there's a whole bunch of questions. Of course, one of the first things that everybody was talking about was why was he racking the slide every single shot? Of course, we've seen lots of gun experts coming out. We've seen a lot of conspiracy theories coming out. Like he was a fucking actual assassin, man. He weighed down his bullets extra, but they weren't able to cycle the slide, so that way he could slow down the round and shit. You clearly have no fucking idea what you're talking about. He's trying to catch the casings. Then why were the casings found?
Right.
Yeah, the conspiracies were fucking ridiculous on it. Really, I think it was a shitty fucking setup. In my opinion, I think it was just a shitty fucking setup, and I think on some of them the dude was just racking preeminently just because he was probably a slight adrenaline rush at the time, I would assume, and he was probably he probably got a jam on the first one, and then because I actually did this the other day when I was out with my 22 because it kept fucking jamming. So I'd fucking shoot one at failure to extract, and I'd clear it, fucking shoot the next one, failure to extract, and clear it. Like I had to actually do that with one of my 22s just this last time I went out shooting. And so I mean I got to a point where I was just like, fuck it, I know it's gonna jam, so shoot, rack anyway, shoot, rack anyway, shoot, rack anyway. So I mean it could have been something like that, because of course they did find actual unfired bullets at the scene as well too. So
Right.
but I mean, and this is all just in terms of why he was fucking firing like that. There's also the whole motive. A lot of people are saying that, of course, why else? Because he's the head of a insurance, a major insurance company, and there's also the message that was written on the shells of the bullets, which was what was it? Depose, deny, defend, something like that. I believe those are the three, which of course people are speculating is related to the book that is I'm not sure. It's something about how the insurance companies basically get away with denying
Not
people
paying out and what you can do about it.
right. So there's that whole aspect of it. We also have people trying to say that, oh well, maybe it's from his estranged wife or something like that. A whole bunch of speculation. The only stuff that we do have so far is a grainy kind of half hooded photo of the person, and apparently now they have his backpack. From what I've also heard, they heard that he used a fake name to get a ticket from, what was it, Atlanta to New York.
And on the Greyhound shit.
And now he's supposedly, or at least assumptively, fled New York. So really the dude's kind of anywhere, and this is all they have so far. What's your thoughts while I look up this guy's photo real quick?
Pretty wild shit. And the dude was the CEO of United Healthcare, which is obviously the biggest in the world. That's one of the biggest companies in the world, just behind Apple. And that's a major blow, right? But people tend to look at them like fucking slime balls. But now you have the left, like Taylor Lorenz, coming out and wishing death on these people. Like, people wonder why we want these CEOs dead. I mean, the chick that cries because people were fucking talking shit to her online, is out here trying to stir up fucking violence. Clowns
Right.
as usual. Anything that has to do with a situation or reaction that concerns these people is just fucking asinine, man. But you wonder was this a personal thing, or was this some lunatic leftist like normal just trying to look at me, I'm fucking a communist hero, or it's hard to know, right? We'll probably
Right.
never know. It'll be one of those gigs. He'll probably die by police or he'll murder himself out or whatever. But I surely don't think he was a pro. Like you said, I think it almost looks like he was struggling,
Yeah.
at a couple of points. And I'm no gun expert, and I've heard theories and other so-called experts and shit with different stories. But to me, it looked like he struggled a couple times, and but writing the fucking words on the casings. I mean, obviously premeditated shit.
Right.
This wasn't just like a random act of violence or nothing, and he didn't rob him. So, you wonder, was it a hit out or because I've heard mixed things about this dude and being a slime ball, but then I've also heard he was behind the doors right now, trying to work a deal to bring insurance back, like Cadillac insurance, to where you can actually get good affordable coverage and it would fuck Obamacare up. And I've heard a bunch of theories like you just said. I mean, you don't know what's true, but fuck,
Right. It's
what's
going to
your
be
full
just like the DNC bomber,
right?
the pipe, the plant bomber or whatever the fuck, just planted the bombs and shit. Probably worked for the FBI, but that's all speculation. We won't find that out until next season. But but yeah,
Or he'll have a fucking manifesto in his backpack, and just like the tranny shooters, they'll hide that shit. We can't release it.
right. Yeah, if to stir up violence in the countries, we can't do it. Like, fuck you guys.
Right.
But as we already knew, the left fucking are going to be advocating for violence, and that's already appears to have been starting even before the inauguration. Who would have thunk? But the left are definitely going to be advocating for violence. We're definitely going to see much more of this. By the way, here's the picture of the guy. If you guys recognize him, let me know. I think wasn't he in that band 30 Seconds to Mars? I don't know.
You look like Compton, dude.
Right. But so yeah, that's the only picture they got of him. From what I heard, apparently he pulled down his mask just momentarily so that way he can smile at a girl, as if that wasn't fucking like made for TV type fucking shit, right? I don't actually know if that's true or not. That's just what I heard. But
I heard the
either
same
way,
shit. Yeah, and that he bought a fucking water there and then left it so they could possibly have DNA. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of shit that he did that kind of made it to where he wasn't a pro, but he sure got away into the night pretty well. Jumped
right?
on like an e-bike.
You got to think dude. These densely fucking packed cities and shit. Like, ain't nobody gonna fucking catch anybody. Like that's the reason that they live the way that they do. That's the reason people still get robbed in the middle of fucking Times Square, standing 2 feet away from a fucking cop. Like, there's so much fucking going on and shit. Like, dude, you could easily just fucking blend it in. So of course, I would assume that there's cameras literally covering every square inch of his entire route. They probably could trace him back to where he started his day out. But we'll see if we have. I don't know. I think that they're gonna catch the guy. I think that they're gonna catch the guy eventually. I think he's gonna end up dying before he's able to answer any questions, though.
That's what I just said, dude. He's gonna die by a cop or fucking suicide, man.
Yep. Yeah, that's about all that we're gonna end up finding out about this, man. But there's gonna be, I believe, some copycats out there. There'll probably be some copycats. Of course, like I say, there's the left is just getting started. All right, the left, like I said, they're not the smartest bunch, so they're not planning out there. How are we gonna win the country back over, you guys? Like, no, they're just, what are we gonna burn down, you guys? Like, so that's
Right.
You could expect that. You could definitely expect that more stuff like this is going to be taking place. You don't know how bad it's going to get, but at least you do know that Donald Trump's not going to hesitate to send in the National Guard. He's not going to hesitate to send in the troops this time. He's not just going to stand back and let the summer of love take place again. He's again, we hope. We'll see how this all goes, because of course Donald Trump's big, I guess, kind of weakness in his armor is his need to be loved, man. Like, people need to approve of what he's doing, man. It needs the maximum approval. Everybody needs to love Donald Trump, and so of course he is hesitant to do stuff like that, as we've seen before. So yeah, you really just never know, but we definitely know that we're going to see more stuff like this, and we definitely know that the news is going to be fixated on this for the next fucking week as well too.
He'd be loved forever by tens of millions of people if fucking he came in like a bull in a china shop and just
Right?
fucking went ham, dude.
I came in like a wrecking ball.
Right. I mean, you constantly hear about these plots and schemes from the left when they're in power, like, the Biden admin right now, where they're trying to, weave all these different policies and executive orders in to insulate fucking bureaucrats and, like you said, pardons and, so on and so forth, And Trump needs to flex. I mean, he needs to use the power. Like I said, he almost had too much restraint. The guy that they're screaming about being a fascist was, too restrained for me,
Right.
for a lot of people that voted for him, and yeah, like you said earlier, you don't expect them to come in and you're not going to get everything that you hope or that was even promised. But if you can get 50% in this case, fuck, dude, that'd go a long way.
So the one thing that we did see is Donald Trump. He was ruthless. He did not give in, not once, and that of course got him back where he's at. Do you think that the federal government or the establishment has that same sort of gusto? Because really, in which case, all they got to do is survive 4 years, and then they just have to buy the next person that comes in. Do you think that this is just kind of going to be, like I say, a fluke? We're going to he's going to come in, he's going to bull in a china shop everything, and then as soon as he gets out, he doesn't have a prospect of running again. The next person's just going to get in and completely undo everything that he did.
That's why I said you got to weave it. You got to make it thick.
Yeah.
Like regardless of not being liked or being called fascist or whatever. I mean, and regardless of how you feel about the Biden admin, they've showed you how to wield power right now. I mean, they've done
Yeah.
shit that is completely you'd think would be illegal, or sometimes it's even ruled illegal, but they still fucking do it again and again. Don't give two fucks. And of course, you don't want the precedent set. You don't want lawless, but the precedent's already been set. And you've actually watched some of the executive power grow, but at the same time be weakened over these past couple of presidencies. And it's time just for that center. Let's and I don't mean center politically. I mean center for the fucking power and fuck clean house, man. It's time for a Malay movement in this bitch.
Right.
Serious. And people read as if their life's going to end. Like, you don't realize the government has shut down multiple times over the past years, and everything's functioned like fucking nothing, like nothing ever happened. And
Right.
that's the way life goes. We'll
Yeah.
fucking motor on without a few less departments and a lot less bills.
Right. Some of these people might actually have to get jobs.
Exactly. Or at least come and do your job.
Right.
Like we were saying, no more fucking just hang out at home in your pajamas, dude. Like, you're getting
Right.
paid fucking slave, come slave.
Yeah, I'm a consultant. Fuck yourself. Come get in here and start consulting. Like,
Right. We need
Right.
about fucking, maybe 2 of those max, like, overall.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna need you to do at least like 12 consultations a day for us. Like,
Right.
if that's what you do, then we're gonna need you to up those numbers.
Yeah, the shit from ex-employees, they say that, Elon will call him himself, dude, personally, every employee once a week. Like, what did you get done this week, man? And you'd love to see some shit like that roll out.
Right.
Account for your shit or your job is fucking cut. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
what am I paying you for?
So I'm thinking, speaking of government power, what happened in fucking South Korea this week, man?
You almost saw some true draconian shit come to fruition. It started, doors started to be kicked in, everything on federal buildings, but martial law was declared for a short minute, and it was, they were like, January 6th is happening, so that's what they were, it's in some erections.
Right. Yeah. I don't know the full details, man. I just feel like I saw it taking place for like a day or two. I saw some of the videos coming out. I saw some of the people commenting on it. But yeah, I don't know shit about fucking South Korean politics. All I know is that half of their dudes look like chicks, and there's so much plastic surgery around there. That's the only thing I know about South Korea. So I mean, if there's a party that wants to come in and completely reform that place and perhaps make it a little bit more structured or a little bit more, moral, I'm probably on their side, I guess. Again, like I said, I don't fucking know. Whichever side that happened to be, that's the side that I'm probably voting for. 'Cause from what I've
Right.
seen from South Korea so far, K-pop and all that shit, I'm not digging it, man. You guys are a little weird.
They
So
make some great horror, man. I gotta tell you, dude, some fucking
yeah,
creepy shit. Yeah, but apparently this president militarized, mobilized the military. They started kicking in federal building doors like they were assuming control of what would equate to their Senate and everything. And
Mhm.
then outpour from the population. Fucking, they had to flip flop, because they were
Right.
about to get the fucking Capitol burned down, man.
Right. Imagine if they had a Second Amendment. Fuck.
Right,
Right. Yep. Fucking
Koreans on rooftops.
right. Shit, God bless the founders, man. They knew what they was doing. They didn't not foresee what would come of the Second Amendment. They knew exactly what would come of the Second Amendment.
Right. There was fucking chain fed, large caliber weapons. And, I mean, there was all types of shit. How they try to, they were talking about muskets. Is like, no, no. And the
Right.
fucking, well regulated militia meant like a well armed fucking populace. Like the populace was the militia.
Yep. Yeah, it's not an amendment to make sure that you're allowed to have guns. It's an amendment to make sure that you're allowed to protect yourself from when the government inevitably oversteps their bounds.
Foreign and domestic, man.
Yep. Yep. And like I say, even if it never comes to that, just the knowledge that there's millions and millions of guns and billions of rounds of ammo in your backyard, that'll probably keep you on the straight and narrow. You would think, at least, But again, people become ignorant in their bliss, and people stop paying attention to what the fuck government was doing for decades now.
Yeah, I mean, we used to have a populace that would come and seize the local fucking, Capitol building to deal with corruption. Like, come armed, like you're getting the fuck out of here. I mean, several cases throughout the South, and I don't mean like Civil War era. I mean, it's pretty current fucking decades, and now people just be goaded. I mean, they showed you that with COVID. That was
Yeah.
their fucking test run there, man.
Right, they try to pull that shit for everything now. Fucking everything's a public health fucking emergency now. The climate changes, it's a public health emergency. We're shutting everything down, taking fucking authoritarian control over everything. Like, no, you can't do that. Like, they actually tried that shit. People are gonna say they tried
trying to
that shit.
push Biden, trying to pressure Biden and declaring a fucking emergency because climates. And like
Yep.
I said, I mean, they're pouring billions of dollars into it, regardless if they're telling you or not.
Yep. Yeah, it's a shit situation, man. But let's see. Fucking South Korea. You want to talk about motherfucking Peter Hotez? I think that's all we got left.
The fucking ever unhinged fucking Peter Hotez, man.
Right.
Yeah. Pfizer spokesman A1 and shit.
Right. Fucking didn't RFK challenge him to a debate?
No, you got Patrick Bet David saying that he'll donate $5 million each, dude, if they come debate, like to any charity they want and shit.
All right, so let's go ahead and check out this video right here. That basically just it's a warning, apparently, by Peter Hotez. Let's see.
Here's the
Let me read the context. See, I don't think the COVID-19 vaccine con artist will go away quietly. If this rant from Peter Hotez sounds a lot like a threat, that's because it is. Looks like they have a few surprises ready for release. Whatever happens, do not comply. Again, this is this guy's thoughts and opinions. We're not endorsing it because we will probably get banned from YouTube preemptively. Let's check out what this guy looks fucking insane. Like that's the science. That's the science you're telling us to trust right there. Like, I don't trust that. A guy that can't fucking, I don't know, comb his fucking hair once a week. Like I don't trust that. I don't trust that guy. He's too far into the soyance.
And it's self-admitted him and his daughter live off of like Cheetos and chili dogs and shit.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably can't even do one motherfucking pull up, but he's going to tell you about your weight and shit.
Here's the reason why we need to care about this stuff, Nicole, is that we have some big picture stuff coming down the pike starting on January 21st. Mr. Bloomberg mentioned H5N1. That I'm really worried about. It's all over wild birds on the western part of the United States and going up in the north. It's getting into the poultry. We're seeing sporadic human cases, no human-to-human transmission yet, but that could happen. It's in the cattle, it's in the milk, and that's just the beginning. We have another major coronavirus likely brewing in Asia. We've had SARS in 2002, SARS-2, COVID-19 in 2019, and we know these viruses are jumping from bats to people thousands of times a year, but there's still more. We know that we have a big problem with mosquito-transmitted viruses all along the Gulf Coast, where I am here in Texas. So we're expecting dengue and possibly Zika virus coming back, or a Puche virus, maybe even yellow fever. And there's more. Then we have all this sharp rise in vaccine preventable diseases going up because of, in part, the anti-vaccine activism that's so prominent right now. We have a 5-fold rise in pertussis cases, whooping cough over the last year, 15 measles outbreaks this year. We've got polio that's been in the wastewater in New York State. All that's going to come crashing down on January 21st on the Trump administration. We need a really, really good team to be able to handle this.
All right. Well, there you have it.
That guy's a fucking lunatic, and the shit that he's talking about coming back, measles and shit like that, it's because of the millions of fucking goddamn third worlders pouring through the borders.
Right. I was going to say, it also does sound kind of like a fucking catalog of everything that they have at the National Institute of Health and Virology. Yeah.
Right.
Sounds like he was just going off of a fucking list of like, yeah, you want to fuck around? I got measles. I got yellow fever. I got dengue fever. I got fucking this. I got shit that you've never fucking heard of, you guys. I mean, you know, there's stuff that might be coming out that we've never even heard of, you guys. I think I lost Swine for a minute. Maybe it'll come back in. But yeah, so anyway, he was talking about, you know, things like H1N1. Of course, he was using the old trope of bats to people, which, don't get me wrong, things like you know, vectors for viruses, things like disease, you know, mosquitoes, bats, bats, you know, to people, all kinds of stuff, fleas, bed bugs, all that type of stuff. That's actual real stuff. But I mean, a lot of the stuff that he is pointing out really has a lot to do with, you know, as Swine was saying, from the mass amount of immigrants that we have coming through our border, just flooding in. So yeah, of course, it's funny because they say the same type of you know, reading whenever it comes to the other way around, right? Whenever, you know, Christian missionaries or something like that will go overseas to, you know, some tribe or something like that in order to try and you know, spread the word, or, you know, bring fucking blankets, bring food, all that type of stuff. They're gonna like, oh my goodness, they're bringing diseases and all this and that type of stuff with them. But then again, they also bring vaccines, all the medicines, you know, all the stuff that these you know, small tribes have never had. And of course, yes, it does end up you know, introducing them often. Well, it used to. All of this stuff is back in the day. There's very few uncontacted tribes that won't eat you if you try to come anywhere near them. But you know, as this was a back in the day issue. But at the same time, when it's the other way around, when it's places where, you know, these diseases have continued to flourish, or places where these diseases have only existed for, you know, quite some time, they are all bringing them over this way now. And of course, it's another one of those I guess just additional consequences that comes from the massive flooding of our country with illegal immigrants, and that's all thanks to the Biden administration. All right. So yeah, we'll see how that ends up turning out. But again, it's a bit of a chilling thing. And again, the date and time on it too. December or January 21st. One of the first things that I was kind of wondering about when he did say January 21st was basically if he's just talking about, oh yeah, and we got swine back. So I went on a bit of a rant there for a minute about the whole clip. But
I don't know what the hell happened, but yeah, dude's a fucking lunatic.
yeah, absolutely fucking insane, man. But so one thing I'm wondering about is when he said January 21st, if he was just trying to like, basically we have this whole fucking long list of stuff that we've been seeing pop up and shit like that, and come January 21st, that's basically going to fall on Donald Trump's plate, and he's going to have to come up with decisions on to how we're going to deal with this. And then of course he's talking about the anti-activist movement and stuff like that. But yeah, he's talking about a whole bunch of crazy ass shit. So the one thing I was kind of wondering about, if you think that in terms of the January 21st thing, if he wasn't trying to like, oh, we're gonna unleash, or there's probably going to be a whole bunch of stuff that's going to be coming down the pipes on January 21st, or do you think he meant this is basically an issue, a problem that's going to fall into Donald Trump's lap on January 21st?
I'm sure he meant, that exactly what you said there, that it was basically, something that Trump's going to inherit right now. I'm sure he wasn't, overtly trying to make threats like people are making it out to be. But at the same time, I think that this guy has made a name for himself being a fucking, fear monger. And, he's going to try to use that to his advantage at any given moment, So, he may believe it himself, though. I mean, maybe he's one of those people that's just absolutely horrified, like you were saying earlier. But I don't know. Like I said, I think it's just something that he's made money off of. He gets to do the talk show circuit and gets to tote the "I'm a doctor." Listen, like a Fauci type of thing. I am the science, right? I mean,
Right.
a lot of these fools get those god complexes, and he's a lunatic. That's all I can say, man.
Right. He's already he's spouting the whole from going from bats to people, or maybe from mosquitoes to people and stuff like that. You guys tried that, man. Fucking there's no fucking bat at a Wuhan fucking wet, or at a wet market and shit. There's no crossbreeding that went down, and it's it was leaked from a lab, motherfuckers.
Yeah, that
Um,
and like you see, that's the shit that he mentioned. How he said coming back. I mean, these things were pretty much eradicated in this country, and again, it's coming back because you have millions of unvaxxed people pouring through the border carrying this shit. So that's where you're seeing it. And yeah, there is people here that don't not up to date on shots, or parents that like to try to be holistic or what the fuck ever. But that's only going to be an issue in a society where those things aren't already fucking eradicated for the most part,
right.
right? So I mean, those people might be getting sick, but the vast majority of everyone else is still motoring along, man. It's fucking concentrated in these populations.
Yeah. Yep. If I can, it's just another one of those uh consequences of the Democrat policy of this whole fucking love everybody. Everybody's equal. There's no such thing as bad people. There's just people that haven't been given a chance. That's all. Like
No,
we
no
see we're
humans
seeing the
illegal.
results of it.
Right.
Right.
You want them to come to your house tonight? No, absolutely not. I don't have the rooms. And so,
Right.
it's
Meanwhile, you're over here walking around wearing a fucking mask and shit like that. Well, little do you know these people that are unvaccinated, not only for fucking COVID, but for every fucking thing else, are now breathing the same air as you, buddy. And your little fucking face diaper ain't gonna save you this time. Even though
plus
it
if you've
didn't
been
last
on the
time either.
dark side, yeah. Plus, if you've been on the dark side of the inner zones, you've seen hour after hour of the civilizations where these people are coming from that are just committing acts of straight savagery in broad daylight and streets, and I mean, just crazy shit, right? And
Right.
it's not. And again, people love to. That's racist. It's not racism. It's pointing out reality. It's a cultural difference, and certain things are accepted in other places where it shouldn't be in a first world fucking nation, man.
Right. Yeah, we hold some things to be, kind of sacred, like usually fucking the rule of law, fucking things like a fair trial, shit like that. It's not so much the case in a lot of the places where these people come from.
Right, free
So,
speech, so on,
yeah.
and you see, Western countries are falling to this shit where they have examples of these exact group of people now that are in their fucking parliament and whatnot, and they're on the floor screaming everything's racism, pointing out like I just did that people that are unvaxxed from third world countries are bringing measles and shit. That's racist,
Mhm.
you know, and you should be fucking booted or jailed or fined or what have you.
Right. And another thing, one thing that we used to point out before was that a lot of people that would immigrate to the United States before, through the right legal channels and all that stuff, when they come here, they're very patriotic. That's it's completely gone out the window anymore. A lot of these people are just coming here for the, as Salty would say, the gimme dats. They're coming here to quite literally rape this country in oftentimes the literal, economic, and figurative way. Um, they're you don't want the leftists to come after you, but they're criminals, and it's quite literally, all of them, in the fact that they're coming here illegally. Again, there is still the legal channels; those still exist. You can still, do all that stuff. It's just these people aren't choosing to do it that way, and these people have no intention of ever doing it that way, right? It's basically it's a free ride. It's basically come on in, fucking raid our fridge, do whatever you want. The ship's sinking anyway. And that's the way that the Democrats are treating it right now. And that's the way that these newcomers are treating it. And it used to be the second generation that becomes unpatriotic, and they become Americanized basically, which ironically makes you unpatriotic for whatever reason. But But yeah, now we're coming with a whole new fucking generation that screams out "Death to America" their entire way here. Like, I'm pretty sure they're walking with their bags over their heads. "Death to America, death to," you know. Uh, and yeah, they're forming their pockets and shit like that. So we're seeing they're getting political power, in terms of their neighborhoods, their districts, things like that. Um, and yeah, they're bringing diseases. They got dengue fever, man.
Right, and conflicting fucking cultural views and different outlooks as far as the expenditure of human life and so on and so on.
Right. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think my government's shit too, but I don't want to like kill them and take over and replace it with like Sharia law or something like that. Like
Yeah, and I don't want to destroy my country because my government's fucked up.
right. Yeah, I'd rather just destroy the fucking branches of government and fucking we could replant those.
Yeah. And even with that, like I was saying earlier, man, with the fucking whole Matt Gaetz shit, fucking withdrawing his name, I think that was like an open door, bro. I mean, that's the possibility of things not going right there,
Yep.
man. That was people saying like, look, pressure, we can
Yeah.
get these people to fucking backtrack or possibly get Trump to change fucking, to who we want, what have you. And man, that's where it's
Right.
getting a little hairy.
Donald Trump's going to have opposition his entire way through. It really is getting these people, confirmed that a lot of the possibility of a better America is riding on. Donald Trump can only do so much. I mean, he's able to, negotiate with other people. He's got veto power. He's able to call up on Congress. He's able to, do executive orders, stuff like that. But ultimately, he's still limited. He's still limited.
He's
That's why
180-year-old dude.
Right. And he needs these people in place that are going to be, it's not just about being loyal to Donald Trump. It's about being loyal to the Constitution and for the betterment of the United States. That's quite literally what MAGA stands for. It actually means make America great again. It doesn't actually, it's not code for like Nazi or something like that. It's an acronym that means make America great again. It's definitely not 8-8. All right. But yeah, it's people that are actually for that. And that's why they don't want these people in there. They don't want people in there that are for truth, because these people are creatures that live and thrive on the darkness.
Yeah, roaches hate when you turn the light on.
For real, man.
Yep,
then we're
sunshine really is the best sanitizer.
watching them all scatter right now.
Right.
They're leaving the country, fucking asking for pardons, this and that. You're like, hey, we're watching the fucking the shit go down.
Okay.
Right. Just speaking of which,
Yep. What sucks though is the real opposition is from his own party. You know,
yeah,
because we have fucking the majority in both chambers. It's like, dude, if we had our own party solidified, everything would be A1. But like you said, establishment fucks, man.
we do really need
30-year fucking senators and shit.
we do really need to start, make sure that we keep a running list of everybody, all the congressmen, senators that fuck shit up for us, and make sure that we run as heavy of campaigns to get them fucking unseated as we can. As we're seeing you hate to say it, but the power of democracy really works when you actually use it in a representative republic, style. If you're able to focus, like we saw with the get out the vote fucking campaign and shit by Scott Pressler and shit.
So I was just gonna say we need 48 more Scott Presslers, dude.
Right. If you just highly focus your efforts, we will get these motherfuckers out of there. Like, if people don't forget, the internet doesn't forget, we got to make sure that we keep those receipts, fucking keep these people's names, fucking put it on your fucking wall, put it on your wall. It's funny. I get text messages and shit every now and then from, campaign fucking shit, telling me, oh, contact your senator. We need to make sure that we get these people confirmed. Like, you want me to contact either fucking Mark Kelly or Ruben Gallego? Like, the fuck is that gonna do?
Right.
It ain't gonna help shit. There's no chance that neither of those fucking cocksuckers are gonna fucking try and get anybody confirmed for Donald Trump. Especially too, because it's ridiculous. Because Ruben Gallego will try and run on, we're going to secure the border and shit. But I guarantee you that he's going to fucking oppose. Who's the borders are? I forget his name.
Tom Homan.
Yeah, I guarantee you that he's going to oppose the fuck out of that guy.
Yeah, his idea of securing the borders, the bipartisan borders bills, is
right.
The same fucking lame ass talking point that codifies fucking $1 million a year or whatever.
Right. Fucking Border Patrol needs all new trucks so that way they could go sit at the checkpoints. Like, fuck you guys, man. You guys are pieces of shit. Like, we need to make sure that we have bigger facilities so that way we can process people through faster. Like, no, we don't. No, we don't. We need bigger walls to make sure that they're not just fucking pouring over, so we don't have to process people at fucking breakneck speeds. Like, we shouldn't be having to do that.
Right. And it's always been about, illegal migration, I'm saying, illegal alien shit like that. And where do you think the talking point, the whole fucking asylum came from? That's a planned thing. That's why they're like, we need to process them, because they tell them that talking point. The NGOs and the fucking church groups and shit like that are helping these people. They're telling them. You tell them you're claiming asylum.
Right. Tell them Joe's in a sanitarium. Okay.
Right. Legal migration is great to an extent, right? But the price of that, it cuts much more deeply than fucking people realize. Even fucking Biden's own, fucking treasury has come out and said that, the current migration situation is depressing wages. You know what I mean? And that's a part of the plan. Again, fucking slaves, dude. Slavers. Tell you what.
Right. They don't even give a fuck about it. You saw fucking Nancy Pelosi back in the day. Like, we need these migrants to come and pick the fruit. Like, bend and scoops. Yeah, these people, they're shameless about it. They'll sit there and bitch about fucking these billion-dollar industries and shit like that. But at the same time, these fucking migrants aren't going to go work at farmers markets. they're going to work at the big fucking factory farms and shit like that for fucking low wages that are making hand over fucking fist money and shit because everybody else has been regulated out of competition with them. So
Right.
they have no competition. And at the same time, now they get fucking, they don't really even have to pay their fucking workers. You know, these people are, right? And then they're going and turning around and donating to political causes and fucking activism and all this and that type bullshit that helps to keep people from being able to compete against them. Like these people are just corrupt fucking the corporations and all this and that type of shit that the Democrats claim to be against, you know.
Or
But
what they
meanwhile,
used to claim to be against.
right, but meanwhile, oh, we need to supply them with, you know, fucking next to dirt cheap fucking workers and shit, you know. Meanwhile, we're gonna just import all the rest of our food from fucking elsewhere because you're not allowed to grow shit here unless you have all these fucking extreme regulations like all these people have, these fucking Monsantos and all these giant other fucking companies.
And you got people like Ratface Schumer, like, you know, we need to fund Social Securities. I mean, if do you think that these people are going to pay in and not expect to fucking collect on top of that? Plus, like, I mean, they're saying it's going to be insolvent within just, you know, a handful of years. I mean, just because you pour people in, like, I mean, you've seen the map where it compares the cost per state versus the tax revenue. It's always in the red. You know what I
Right.
mean? Always in the red. So, I mean, you know, in what way is that going to benefit Social Security in the short amount of time that you have left for it to be safe?
Right.
Absolutely nothing. It's, you know,
Yeah, they're bringing them over here to use them. Gonna go rug pull them like that Hawk Tuah chick.
right. But we can fund fucking Ukrainian, their, you know, their federal retirement plans and shit. Don't worry about it.
Right. Yep. That's our government, man. Welcome to America, guys. Fucking good
Yeah,
luck.
yeah, and regardless of how you feel about it, that's fucking waste. That's, you know,
Yeah.
destruction of the fucking dollar.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, they gotta be sending it back fucking to their home countries and shit. And they're gonna, you know, they if they do pay into Social Security, fucking we're not gonna have the reproduction rates of American citizens or people that are actually, you know, willing to fucking work in this country or build anything for this country to resupply the whenever they try to go fucking hop on Social Security, you know?
Yeah, exactly, man.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. That entire fucking system is fucked from fucking uh fucking Karl Marx Street, you know? Like that's just never meant to work. It's not gonna happen, you know?
Yeah, I mean, and, you know, all these systems that are in place were supposed to be temporary stopgaps and shit like that, and you know, already, you know, devolved to the point to where fucking half the population at minimum fucking heavily relies on them, dude. You know, and it
Yeah.
wasn't supposed to be like that.
Nope. Yeah, but that's it. That's human nature. You know, it wasn't supposed to be like that, but at the same time, everybody should have expected it was going to go that way. You know, I mean, it's human fucking nature to take the path of least resistance. And getting fucking money from the government and kicking your baby daddy out on the streets. It's the fucking least resistant path. Because I'm pretty sure, yeah, that motherfucker's like, shit, hell yeah, I get out there. Like, I ain't got to pay child support. Like, doesn't matter. You're going to get it from me anyway. You know. You fucking go get that shit from the government. And
Right.
it's the path of least resistance for on all sides. And of course the government then just increases and increases their power. You know, more and more demand. Like, oh, for some reason there's just a poverty epidemic out there. I wonder why.
Right. Absolute Leviathan, the largest employer in the country, is the federal
Right.
government.
Yep.
Fucking, that doesn't smack you. And, you know, the largest companies in the world are the vast majority of them are all American.
Yeah.
What the fuck, right?
I think something's right here, man. Yeah. Oh, it's right. It's
Right.
right.
You just want to see a bunch of federal workers lose their jobs?
Right.
Yup.
You just love the rich, don't you? He just wants to fucking tax cuts for his rich friends.
I know I was paying less in taxes and I'm not rich.
Right. Yeah. All right, man. You got anything else you want to get on before we get out of here?
Nope, dude. Smell asses laters, man.
I appreciate you guys stopping by. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share the show out with your friends. Let us know what you guys think in the comment section below. And make sure you guys are back here next Friday as we talk more about the fall of Western civilization and the news.
The decay of Western society.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Peace out. That's about all. Peace
Yeah.
out.